Good day, everyone. It is Meredith Leon McCormick for World Bride Magazine and MLM Represent. As you know, we're all dealing with the COVID-19 crisis, the coronavirus, and it is Monday morning, March 30th, and we have just been asked to stay at home for another 30 days. So we're going to follow the rules. But we know that we're driving each other crazy. The space for some New Yorkers may be a little bit too cramped, too tight, and we're just in each other's spaces. We decided instead of driving each other crazy and making each other nuts, we're going to call in an expert, a home design expert, Miss Doreen Chambers, who has been designing homes in the most luxurious spaces in the universe around the world. So Doreen, I want to tell you thank you, first of all, for coming and taking the time from your busy schedule just to chat with us. Can you hear me?
Hi, America. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. Well, I'm very happy to be joining you, and it's great that we can take the time to have this conversation. And you're right, here we are. We're in week 3, and we're going to be home at least until the end of April. So how are any of us going to survive it?
I don't know, but you got to help us.
It's a challenge. The challenge, we all have to help each other. It's a group thing. It's not an individual thing, and most of us are living with other people, and we've all been thrown together. And I think the people that have the biggest challenges are the people that have kids.
I agree.
It was funny because I was watching an Instagram yesterday, and there was this woman who had locked herself in her car because the kids in her house were driving her crazy, and she was just losing her mind. And it's like, you know what, the stress is real. And she really sort of personified that. And, you know, and she's not the only one that's going through that. I think a lot of families are going through that to varying degrees. And, you know, you're right. It is about space. And you have to try and work through the chaos. And I think with kids in particular, the first thing you need to do with them, if you can, is put them on a schedule. And once their schedules are sorted out and their routines are sorted out, then maybe you can get a semblance of your life back. A lot of the kids are going to be doing online learning. Mm-hmm. And if you can have them doing that for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, however long those classes are online for, it can give you an opportunity to do some work as well. I do think that one of the things that's important, if it's possible, is that everybody needs to be on earphones. Everybody needs to be on plugs, even if it's just 2 of you, even if it's just you and your partner, because one of you may be working and the other one may be listening to CNN, driving themselves crazy. And that is fine, but if you're both in the same room, if you're both on earphones, then it's a workable thing.
Mm-hmm. I agree. A lot of, people that live in small quarters, I think they find it the most challenging because one of the luxury of living in New York City was having these great addresses, but the inside the home was actually really, really small and contained. It worked fine as long as we were each going to work, and the amount of time that we spent in the physical home was brush your teeth, shower, sleep, have dinner, and you're out the door for 8 to 10 hours a day. But now when it's reversed, you're spending 8 to 10 hours in that same small space. This is what I think that's causing people anxiety, which will end up in stress, which would end up in other sicknesses that we want to avoid. That's the reason why we wanted to have this conversation with you. So can you give us some tips on, if I only have a 1-room apartment, not even a 1-bedroom, 1 room, and I don't care if the space is from 500 to 750 square footage, how do I work that space out? And I'm asking that because I'm looking at your beautiful wallpaper behind you. How do I design the space, number one, but make it livable for at least, today we're just going to focus on two people, me and my beloved. How do we make this space work?
Well, I think part of it depends on whether you own the space or you're renting the space.
Mm-hmm.
So if you own it, you can make much more of an investment than if you are just renting. If you own it, you can definitely, hang wallpaper, and you can make bigger investments. But I think if you're in a one room and you're both working, I think the main thing to figure out is who is working where and how you can make it so that you can get some work done. Because I've been talking to friends who, although they're at home, they're actually putting in a full day, and they're on conference calls with their groups. They're on Zoom with their groups, and it's like, well, where is everybody working? So, if one person can take the kitchen table, and you want to set up a designated workspace if you can, so that you're not forever having to close and open your laptop and keep moving and shifting things around. So if one of you can operate from the dining table,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other one can operate from the living room part of the apartment, that will help. And again, everybody in earphones, and just trying to, and it can be difficult, but just trying to respect each other's space as much as possible, and allowing each other to have some space, and also to set some boundaries about how you're going to function in the space together.
Right.
And at some point during every day, I really advise people, while we all can, to get out of that space and take a walk and clear your head.
Right.
And if you jog, if you run, and if you walk. But you should put into your routine the activity of leaving, even if you're just going to the grocery store or the pharmacy, and just get out of the apartment.
I agree. It kind of gets difficult for people as far as, now I'm stuck all day in this room. My bed is here. I need a desk. What size does the desk have to be, or does it have to be a big desk? What can I do to create a little corner?
Well, you can create a corner for yourself. And in fact, I have a lifestyle blog which comes out, which I put out generally every week, and so I've been focusing on these issues, actually partly because you helped me to focus on it, but it really is something that is affecting so many people. So I really started to think about it seriously, because I have a dedicated office, and I have a door on my office, so my situation's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But in the blog this week, I did show lots of different types of tables that you can get and that you can press into service, because you don't necessarily want a desk as such.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a small space, it takes up a lot of room, and then you don't feel like you're in a residence anymore. You don't feel like you're at home. You feel like you're in an office, which is fine when you're in an office, but when you're home, you may want to feel like you're somewhere cozier and more comfortable. So I mentioned in the blog that, for instance, CB2, which is part of Crate and Barrel, they have some fabulous little tables that I actually bought some of them when I was working on a project last summer. And I hadn't been in CB2 in many years, and then I happened to be working with them because I was working on this project. And they have some really nice desks and little tables and little writing tables and little card tables for around $300, $400, $500, and they have different finishes. And if you have a bigger budget, then of course, by all means, go with a more expensive table. You can also go to Sotheby's and Christie's and Doyle's and Swan. All of these auction houses, they are all selling different types of furniture from different periods. And even when I was looking through last week for the blog, I was noticing that, you can get some wonderful antique tables, mid-century, late 19th century, that is technically often called just brown furniture. But you can get some wonderful tables that, when life goes back to normal, you can still have it in your apartment, in your limited space, and can be used for another purpose. Because wherever possible, when you're in a limited space, you want your furniture, if possible, to do more than one job.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
While you're at home and while you've got nothing better to do than look at the four walls, you can start to think about perhaps, what are the different things that I can do in this space to make it a little bit more comfortable, and how else could I live here? And there are so many home sales that are going on now, and sometimes as simple as changing the cushions on your sofa or on your armchair can make the world of difference.
Right.
You can think about different colors and patterns, and we're going into spring. Spring cleaning is also huge. We've got the coronavirus pandemic going on, so yes, we have to clean anyway, but it's also March, and March would normally be the time when we're spring cleaning. So, focus on that. Do some spring cleaning. Get rid of all those cobwebs. Get rid of all those things that you're no longer using.
Absolutely.
I
think that, speaking of that, I love that idea that you just said. Sorry to cut you off. I think it's just so important now that we are home to, in respects to the spring cleaning, clean out your closet, your linen closet. Go through your sheets, go through your quilts and everything else. See what's usable now, and changing things, and then get rid of the things you don't have so you can make room for the things you do need. So now it's about necessity. It's no longer about just accumulating things, but necessities. You named a couple of beautiful stores that I thoroughly enjoy, Christie's and Sotheby's. When we hear those names, we think, oh, luxury, I can't afford it, and I can't, that's not me. I think about myself and my budget. My mom, she was a big antique lover, a big estate sales going person. She enjoyed things like that. So what I did, although that wasn't within my budget, to go to a Sotheby's to make major purchases on a weekly basis, I would go attend to see what I liked, what inspired me, so that I can invest later on when I earned the money that I wanted to. And so they had beautiful stores in my neighborhood right here in Brooklyn and Bed-Stuy, antique stores, where they went to estate sales and bought these wonderful armoires and things. And that's how I was able to utilize well-made furniture that have multi-purpose in my space, and especially the space that I do my Airbnb, and that gave it a coziness, but yet a luxury about it, so people felt that, wow, I'm at home, not just this, it's a bed and a wall and that's it, So can you tell us, how important is color in creating a beautiful space?
Well, color's important, period. Not just in a space, but in our daily lives and in what we wear, and what we focus on. And color has the ability to change moods, and it just has a lot of impact. Personally, for many years, with a lot of my clients, we have been working in very neutral palettes. We've used a lot of taupes, a lot of creams, a lot of grays, a lot of blues, and I'm seeing now that everybody is really moving more towards color, pattern, and texture. And I think one of the things that we're going to find when we eventually come out of this hibernation is that we all want color in our lives. And I think, you look at the color and see how the color is affecting you, like oranges, pinks, yellows, bright greens, citron colors. They're happy colors. They're cheerful colors. They put a smile on your face.
Absolutely.
And they're also energizing colors. And then when you're looking at blues and grays and browns and the sludgier, muddier tones, they tend to be more relaxing, more calming, particularly blues. And I think pattern is going to make a big difference. And I think you just have to experiment. It's a little bit like what you were just saying with furniture. Even if you are not familiar with antiques, and by the way, I'm a big proponent of antiques because I think that in this age of sustainability, to go out and buy something that's already available, that is well made,
Absolutely.
that is an antique, why wouldn't you do that? And even if you see something that you feel like is not in your price range today, you can start to educate yourself about the different types of furniture that are out there. And you don't have to have an entire home in antiques. And in fact, I would not advocate for that. But a way to make antiques work in your home is to just have one piece, to have one substantial piece. It could be a chest of drawers, it could be a dining table, it could be a side table, and just that one piece. And then you're starting to customize your home, and you're bringing different pieces from different periods, from different price points, and you're starting to design your space. And actually, to some extent, it's good to have a smaller space to start with, and then you don't feel so overwhelmed with it.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh my God, I've got 500 square feet. How far on can I go? Let's go.
I agree with you 100%. And for me, when I first bought my house 20 years ago, it was a slow, gradual thing. It wasn't this whole, let's go jump and spend a fortune on it. We didn't have a fortune to spend on it. So what I simply did was, for my children, because I knew they were going to outgrow things, I stayed with the IKEAs, the cheaper furnitures that they could, that was durable, that they could jump up and down and break it next month, and I was going to be fine with it, and it wasn't a big burden. But for my furniture, my living room and my entertainment room and my bedroom, we really went to estate sales. We went to antique shops, and we looked at, we visited other people's homes and got inspiration from there to decide the space. And thank God, 20 years later, I still have many of the same furniture, with the exception of maybe I changed my mattress 3 times. I didn't have to change the furniture too much, because I invested in quality in opposed to just trending furniture, and then our sheets. I'm obsessed with white sheets, so I can't do anything else but white sheets. But like you said, the throw pillows, I use that as texture. How important is accessories such as plants in a room, pillows, vases, dishes? Tell me how important.
Let's go back to sheets for a second. When you're talking about luxury, there are many different ways that luxury can be interpreted. And one of the things that I find particularly luxurious is having great sheets. And because there's just nothing like a wonderful clean bed and beautiful sheets. They don't have to be terribly expensive,
right?
But it helps if they're a nice thread count. And by all means, go to the outlets. And personally, I use Frette sheets, and which is an Italian company, and I really, at this point, can't possibly sleep on anything else. However, Frette has outlets. They have one in Woodbury Commons in New York, and they have one in Miami. And their sheet content is outstanding. And, first and foremost, while we're going through this situation, when you get up, always make your bed.
Oh, that's a must.
That's the first thing that you do, and it will set you up for the day, and it also shows that you respect your personal space. And sheets and just nice coverings, and
Absolutely.
Then when you go back, when you go to bed, you just feel comforted, cozy, and you're just happy to be there. So that's the bedroom and the bed is a place where you want to invest as much as you can, because I mean, how often do you buy a bed? I mean, you just said that you changed your mattress 3 times, so that's over a period of 20
years.
So it's worth investing in, because you're not changing it every year. So really think about, and again, even if you're in a rental home, you're taking the bed with you.
Exactly.
So there's no reason not to invest in it. Once you get out of the living room and you've invested in a decent table that you can work on, and you also should, if you don't have it already, try and invest in a decent office chair, because you're sitting at a desk for the most part, or at a table, or a coffee table, or a card table for hours and hours on end. And in one of my earlier posts, I said, I was showing inspirational pictures, and in a lot of those inspirational pictures, they were showing desks, but with regular dining chairs and armchairs. And I got a lot of responses, and a lot of the responses were very positive. But one of the things that was recurring was, what is the story with these chairs? Why don't they have real chairs there? And so I did a post talking about getting an ergonomic chair, and they come in different price points. Design Within Reach has a sale on right now. You can pick up a chair for $500 or $3,000, whatever your budget allows. And again, that's an investment. You're investing in that.
Because from now, you're not going outside of your home. I mean, to your office anymore. You have to sit in this chair all day long, 8-10 hours. It better be comfortable.
It better be comfortable, and you want to be able to alter it so that it's as close as perfection as it can be for your needs. Other things that you can do and bring into the home are plants and flowers. Again, we're in spring, and today at least we're allowed to go to the grocery store. So while you're in the grocery store, you're going to see some flowers, and just put some of them in your basket and take them home and go for some color. Don't necessarily go just for white flowers. Go for a floral bouquet that's got 3 or 4 different shades in it. Or, get some pink tulips and get some yellow daffodils, and, teach yourself how to make lively and interesting floral arrangements, and it will really brighten up your day and
you have the time for it now anyway.
It's time for it. So now you've got some great cushions, and you've got a couple of floral arrangements going on, and then you go into your bedroom and you've got this wonderful luxe sheet set, and you've got a very nice candle, and you're doing your meditation, because at this point we all need to meditate on some level. And life is manageable, because we have to manage it. This is the situation that we're in, whether we want to be in it or not. And we have to figure out, how are we going to make it, and be okay with it, and actually learn something from it. And enjoy being with our families and our loved ones. And, particularly if we haven't spent a lot of time together recently, and now we're all forced together. I think it can be a learning curve for all of us. We can all learn from it.
I agree with you, and it's just so nice. And there was another thing that you just said that I thought was just heartwarming. We're forced to be with each other, but we don't have to make it a prison sentence. And you mentioned something else earlier, that you said that respecting each other's space. Me, I'm not a morning person. I'm forced to be a morning person because of work. If someone has a partner, I would suggest, hey, if you're a morning person, get up maybe 1 or 2 hours and be by yourself, so that you're not cramming with each other, and you have your thinking time. You put your headphones on and you listen to your music, and you tune out and you meditate, you do your prayers, whatever it is that you do to get your day started. I think maybe you go 2 hours, you wake up 2 hours earlier to have your me time by yourself. Doesn't mean you don't love your beloved. It just means that, hey, I just need to regroup so I can be the best me for you when you're up and we have to be in the same space together. Or it might be the other way around. You might choose to go to bed a little bit later, cuddle to a book. I'm in the process of reading lots of books now all at the same time. I'm a late person. I'm in the mood now to watch the opera. Thank goodness to the Metropolitan Opera. They're giving us free shows every single night. So I think it's so important that we find things to do alone since we're going to be together so much. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's really important, and I think it's going to help everybody maintain their sanity. And so that was why I was recommending that people really think about leaving their home for an hour or so every day. And also, and I agree with you, I think that's a really good idea for people because usually, even as couples, you're on different rhythms. And whoever gets up is the morning person. They can take that to the kitchen, or they can take that to the living room, and then the later person can be in bed until whenever they get up and they get going as well. And in fact, if you've got a one-bedroom apartment, one of you can work from the bedroom and the other one can work from the living room. Because oftentimes with these smaller apartments, it's gallery-style kitchens, which are quite narrow, so you can't even swing a cat in there. But you can generally work from, you can work from a living room and you can work from a bedroom. And that can be, that's useful, that's helpful. And, sit down and talk to your mate about that, about, how are we going to function in here together, and, how are we going to cook, and how are we going to make meals, and how are we doing this, and how are we doing that? Like, I'm a big cook.
Right.
Love to cook, and I cook probably 4 nights a week, and we go out generally 3 nights a week. Now everything's changed. And I'm now cooking 7 days a week. Not so excited about it anymore. But, but it gives me an opportunity to get out some of my cookbooks and look at some recipes and just do some different things. And by the way, that's something that you can do with kids as well. Right. I think this is an opportunity for kids who don't cook or can't cook or don't know the first thing about it. It's home ec 101. This is how you make breakfast. This is how you make lunch. This is what meat looks like. This is what a pork chop looks like. These are the different things that you can do with it, and get the kids involved.
Right, exactly.
Because at the end of the day, everybody has to eat. And although we're all looking for comfort food, and really all anybody wants is pizza and pasta, and red wine, we can't really do that, especially now that we're going to the 30th of April, maybe beyond that.
Right, exactly.
How can we put together some nutritious meals, and not just things that are just delivered? By all means, get in delivery, but also how do we get everybody involved in the food thing, and cooking, and just looking at food a little differently, and finding recipes and making little projects out of it. It can be fun. Fun. And it's another way to keep kids busy, because that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to keep them busy and trying to get some work done.
And at the end of the day, they also are experiencing some measure of stress too.
Yeah.
And anxiety because uncertainties, they're not used to being home all day. They're not used to not seeing their friends. Now they have to learn in a whole different way. So we have to keep in mind that everybody is under stress right now. And so how do we make it easy for everybody living in the same space? That's the ultimate goal.
And also, a lot of those kids can't leave the apartment anymore. Or can't leave the house anymore.
Yeah.
So, how do you make it a learning and a positive experience for them? Well, one of the things you just mentioned was the fact that you went to the virtual Met. Well, how fabulous is that? And I saw the outfit that you went to the virtual Met in. Yeah. But, you could be introducing your kids to the Met for the first time.
Absolutely.
And it's an education, and it's something...
Without it costing you a fortune.
Yeah, no one has to leave the house, and everybody can do it together. And another thing that they can do is that they can, you might have a child who might be interested in learning chess. Now is the time to learn chess. This is something that will take them on through life. Reading together, perhaps reading the diary of Anne Frank, how Anne Frank lived in an attic for several years and never left the attic, and she lived there with another family, and she kept a diary.
Right.
I mean, how amazing is that?
Yeah.
And this is something that maybe some children could get, or some young adults or teenagers could get very excited about and get engrossed in, and it could give them the impetus to perhaps start their own diary. So, there's a lot, if you have the headspace and a moment to be able to think about these things, there are some different things that you can do, and will stop each other from driving each other crazy.
Absolutely. I'm going to go learn another language.
Getting through this together.
I agree. So I'm ready to go learn another language now. I'm about to pick up my Italian, because my goal was to be in Italy this time. So my heart is breaking to see them suffering so much. And I'm going to brush up my Spanish and French and all this other wonderful stuff. We have the time now. We have enough to keep us busy. It depends on how we're looking at it. Is the glass half full or half empty? It's our perspective of things. So I really want to tell you, thank you so much for this opportunity to talk with you. We're going to take one of your stories from your blog, which we're super excited, about, and about how to create the space in line with this conversation that we're having. And we're so excited to invite you to be a guest editor for World Bride Magazine that can help couples go through this process. And one of the things that I do definitely want to be a follow-up conversation is home buying. That must happen. People that are buying homes, because June is coming, and usually that's when everybody's moving. I would love to take the time and invite you to come back and talk about how to buy your first home, investment, and designing it with another real estate person that we're going to be working with. I think you, as a designer, can help everybody get through the process, because I think I like nice things, but putting it together is a whole different other thing. So I think that's when your services are going to be truly needed. So I am excited about having you. Thank you.
And I'm excited too. I'm really glad that we had this conversation, and I hope there are a couple of points in there, or even one point in there that someone can take away and say, yes, I get this. This is what I'm about. This is where I am.
Right.
And this is something that can make a difference to my circumstances. And I'm very excited to be a guest editor. I can't wait to participate in that. And let's talk about real estate for newlyweds.
Yeah, I think they need it. And I think now more people are going to want to buy their own homes after being stuck in their small apartment. I think they've just about had it. Now,
exactly. Maybe that's the impetus that everybody needed to just kind of say, "Oh, all right,
that's it. That's enough. I don't need to buy another purse until I have an apartment."
Exactly.
So I totally appreciate. Can you please give us your website where we can go and follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can follow me at DoreenChambers.com.
Okay. And you do have an Instagram?
My Instagram is at Doreen Chambers Interiors. So
perfect. We're excited.
By all means, send them to me.
Okay, wonderful.
Happy to read them.
Thank you, Doreen. Please enjoy your lovely home, and I'm super excited about that mood board behind you. I can't wait until we can create some more things of our own together. Ciao, Bella.